Prime Minister, distinguished panelists, and ladies and gentlemen in the room today. My name is Nick Nesbitt, and I'm CEO of Kencall. We are one of the leading outsourcing businesses in Nairobi, and we've been running for about 5 years. And I'm absolutely honored to be one of the people to stand up here to speak about the youth, because I know many people in this room could also get up and speak. So I'm in charge of the mic, so I'll tell my story. And I'm happy to be here. So what are we all about? What is this outsourcing thing? I spent, after high school in Kenya, 20-something years in the States, at the end of which I was living a wonderful life in America, flying big jets and big jobs and all of this kind of stuff, working for a big telecom company. But I saw a reason to come back home, which was to come back and start a company. Come back and start a company to directly address some of the issues that the Prime Minister just showed up on the screen there. And I saw what was happening in India through my work, and I could see that India was creating hundreds of thousands of jobs through using technology to connect the Indian workers with the clients back in the US and the UK. And I could see at the time, at the end of the 90s, early 2000s, how much money was being created, not only for the entrepreneurs who started the business, but also for the employed staff in all of those businesses. And sort of having this competitive brown thing, well, if they can do it in India, we can do it in Kenya. We've got the right accents, we've got the right culture, we've got a hard work ethic. Especially in those days, it's a nicer place to come and visit. All the ingredients were there to leave that nice, comfortable life in America and come to Kenya and start a business. But when I got here, the business was not that easy to start because not all of the ingredients were here. And a whole nother conversation can be had around what was not right at that time. And many people dissuaded me actually from coming. And sometimes I think I wish I had listened to them. But anyway, I'm here now. And I know this is what I should be doing. So what's behind all of that? Last year I had the privilege of sitting with the chairman of Coca-Cola, who was telling a story about how he launched Coke Zero, and nobody in his company believed he should do it. And he talked about the long, hard, dark night of the entrepreneur. And I'm sure many people in this room know what I'm talking about. And that is when you doubt everything that you're doing is right. And you've got nothing else to go on but the mission that you're on or the vision that you have, as we just heard about. Because it is difficult. And the vision I had when I started this business was to do two things. One was to change the way Western companies thought of African, or let's get specific, Kenyan businesses when they interacted with them. Have a completely different mindset when they thought about these companies they did business with. The second was I wanted to give young people a chance to be world champions without having to be a marathon runner and raising your hands as you cross a finish line in New York. Right? I wanted them to feel that through the education and the training that we gave them at Kencall every day, that they could compete with anyone in the world. And this business that I learned through time, they didn't teach this in MBA school, is one of the most market pure, to make up a term, businesses in the world. Because since you're interacting with your clients' customers at any time of the day, 24/7, connected by a big, thick, fat telecommunications pipe, and being measured every day, you are being compared with people in Malaysia, India, South Africa, Mauritius, Egypt, Morocco, everywhere in the world. And if you don't perform, or you don't charge as low of a price as your competitors are, that business can literally move overnight to another country. So you live by the sword and you die by the sword. So for us, the investment was, how do we put the right energy into recruiting, training, managing, directing, promoting, demoting, and eliminating staff every single day? And that was a big challenge. And over the years, we've been successful, we've won awards, we've done all kinds of things, but it has not been easy. Why has it not been easy? The reason it's not been easy is because I've learned over the years to separate two things. One is, do not believe in your own forecasts. Now, my bankers are here, so I shouldn't say that. But anyway, let me just say that. Because things happen. Four-letter word, happens, right? The second thing is beware of your own marketing. Now, that's a great insight I hope budding entrepreneurs can really believe in here. What do I mean by the second point? The second point is, when I go out there and I can sell Kenya and I can sell, even in the middle of tribal violence, post-election violence, I was in Boston, I was in London, I was in New York, and I was saying, no, that's just a flesh wound. Don't worry, we're going to move on, we're going to move on. What was I selling? I was selling accents, I was selling education, I was selling hard work ethic, I was selling integrity, I was selling all of those different things. Now, just in this room, why you shouldn't believe your own marketing is because the hard and cold fact is, in many cases, that is not true about our Kenyan employees and our Kenyan staff. Okay? Last week, we had 300 people come to KenCall for a job. We hired two out of 300. I think in the last 3 weeks, we've probably hired 27, 30 people. We've probably seen well over 1,500 people at KenCall. Now, the difference is, probably 6 months ago, I would have hired, out of the 300, maybe 40. But we've realized that we aren't able to compete on a global scale because our standards aren't high enough. So the thing I was chasing, we weren't actually living ourselves. And we've lost clients, we've won clients, but we've lost clients because we haven't done it. So we've had to up the grade. So when we talk about this mass population that we have of young people who are all going to come out and they're our biggest assets and all of those kind of things, we who are responsible for hiring them and turning them into productive assets have to really think twice about how we are actually going to do that. And are they really there? Because we have this Pollyannish thing that, oh yeah, blah, 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 and it will bite you. And I've got many bites on that. Okay, so I think that's one of the first points I really want to make about that. But, you know, I'm not giving up. I'm not about to give up. I believe that we can actually make this happen if we change our game and we raise our standards. So there are many negatives, but there are lots of positives as well. The reason why there are so many unemployed people, basically, young people, is because all of the companies, many in this room, the Bidcos of the world, Safaricoms of the world, they can't hire everyone. The other reason is the government can't hire everyone. So who is going to give them a job? You know, we're all trying to be as productive as we can. Who's going to give them a job? So that's where I raise my hand, and as the Prime Minister just mentioned, the BPO industry, let's get the Europeans, Australians, and Americans to give them a job. So let's train them to a level where the whole company, whether it's KenCall or any other company, can perform, whether it's in accounting or legal processing or software development or some kind of IT support desk or tourism help desks, that they can be connected by this technology, this technological umbilical cord that I just mentioned, so those people can hire us. But what's it going to take to make that happen? The first thing is the government needs to get up and actually focus on this thing. Right? This thing called BPO, and we're going to build this big park in Milili and all of this kind of stuff. We're not quite there yet, to be honest. Right? We're not quite there yet. Because the government, unlike governments in Mauritius, Malaysia, Philippines, Egypt, you name it, Morocco, they are all pounding the pavements and actually promoting that their country as a place to do business with is worth it. Not as a place to be, or on top of being a tourist destination, on top of a place that supports great flowers and agriculture, horticulture and so on, but as a place where you can engage your companies with those companies in our country and you will not be let off. You know what this is? One client told me? It's relatedness, Nick. We read about companies and all of these magazines you see, Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, they all do specials on Kenya, and many people in this room have spent many millions of shillings on those ads. The problem is the people and the decision makers in those countries can make a decision to come here and go and watch the migration. They can read about the successes of M-Pesa, They can read about the successes of other people in this room and outside this room, but they can't quite relate to what that means to them. So when I get on my bicycle and go to London, like I'll do in a few weeks, and pedal around knocking on doors saying, Kenya, 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 they've never heard of anyone even talk about Kenya being a place where you can do business. And they can't quite relate. So that little bit of publicity is all that we get to make this happen. Right? So we need to do that. Secondly, the government needs to start with outsourcing locally. Those thousands of files that all are able to make people charge illegal rent for looking into those files need to be digitized. Promote not only Kazi wa Vijana to dig ditches, but have them digitize records. Move out the work to all the counties and everywhere. Get software developers to create databases. That is the information that call centers can use. That can create jobs. And the list goes on and on and on. But I'm not going to get into everything just now because I think we're going to have a debate about this. Right? Yeah. So I just wanted to tee it up that if we're going to have an honest and frank discussion here, let's not make it all rosy, and let's not only think that this thing is about ICT. My minister, so to speak, is Honorable Pugisio. But I don't know why my minister is not the Minister of Trade, because we're really just a business, actually. At the end of the day, it's a business using IT. We don't have a Minister of Pencils. We have a Minister of ICT. And I'm not saying that to debase anything, but my biggest cost is HR. So maybe the Minister of Labour or the Minister of Youth should be my minister. But who is my minister? And I think we need to even challenge some of those things. Okay, so let me stop there, and we'll talk